The next thing we will go to is the fine-tuning system. In order to put in the fine-tuning system, I will now put the tremolo arm in. Whenever we use the tremolo, it's going to require more fine-tuning. But of course, in the fixed position, without the tremolo arm, you can also use the fine-tuning. So it becomes really important in fine-tuning that when you string up the instrument, that you actually put the fine-tuning knob in the halfway position. So it's halfway down, halfway up. That way you can tune up or you can tune down. In other words, do not screw it all the way down like that or all the way up, because you will have no way to go. See, that's higher. Okay, so fine-tuning is accomplished simply by turning this clockwise, the sound will go up. By turning it counterclockwise, this way, the in-tuneness will go down. So you adjust your in-tuneness up and down, listening to your harmonics to make that correct. Now, the next thing is to be certain that the fine-tune works in the halfway position, which I just spoke about. Have it halfway down, halfway up, so that works. Next thing we'll talk about now is the cam itself. The cam is what absolutely powers this device. We can best see the cam on the reverse side, because on the reverse side you can see how the springs are integral to the cam. The cam will decide the tension on the springs as well as the needed tension on the strings above. Now, most of us realize and most of us know that we've got about 120 to 130 pounds of tension on 6 strings. Now, that difference in tension on the strings is going to require a different setting on the springs, which is underneath. Now, if you notice, these springs are, again, integral to the cam. So, as opposed to a fulcrum that is screwed in with 2 number 12 wood screws into the body, you don't have to go to the underside to do anything. Everything is done from the top of the device. So now what we'll do is to show how to adjust the springs. The springs are found in the absolute center ID right there. By screwing it clockwise, screwing it down, you will be able to see the cam actually go down. See, I'm tightening up the springs, and you can see that it's pulling the cam down. Now, if we loosen it up counterclockwise, of course, it is releasing the springs, and the cam will come up. Now, what is the ideal setting of the cam? Obviously, we have light, extra light strings. We have medium strength strings. We got heavy strings. Generally, that's gauged by the first string if you got an 8, 9, 10, or 11 on the first E string. Obviously, the string set, it makes a big difference as to the setting of the springs. Therefore, although I've covered that, the point is, where does this cam have to be in order to operate 100%, in order to be at its best? I'm going to show you 2 ways that it should not be, and then we'll get to the correct way. First of all, we're going to put these strings in order right into the front, like such. And we'll move this over. What we don't want to see is the adjustment of the cam high, like this. This device will not work correctly when everything is adjusted that high. Which means what? That the springs were not tight enough. Now we'll look at it from the side here. If the cam is high like that, the device will not work correctly because it doesn't have enough room. As you can see how that cam is moving, does not have enough room to go back and seat. So we want the cam ideally absolutely level with the edge of the fine-tuning cage absolutely in line with the mounting plate. So that's how important this middle string adjustment actually is. If this is adjusted too far down, and this is setting way back like that, that's just as bad. That is not good. So what we want is, again, if it's in the back position like adjusted, no good. Up position adjusted, no good. That is the correct position, no matter what strings you have. So we're going to adjust it to that position. We now have it adjusted too low, so I will adjust it up until it comes up to be level. That's the level right there. That's perfectly where we want it to be. Exactly where that cam should be absolutely level with the top plate. I'm going to do this one more time because this is very, very important. No matter how well you adjust the saddle set, intonate the saddle set, set up the radius, set up your spacing, fine tuners in the middle, you must have this cam adjusted properly. It cannot be the final adjustment that high. And it cannot be in a final adjustment that low. It must be in that position right there. And that is the final adjustment that you need to make. Now, this is true for all luthiers, all end users, and particularly all OEMs and factories around the world that use this bridge.